In today's latest news, we get ready for our upcoming game tomorrow at Stamford Bridge, 3 PM against Southampton. I'm going to give my estimated lineup that I think Graham Potter may pick in tomorrow's game. And to move on, we discuss Andrey Santos, as today his work permit got rejected. And to end things, we discuss REECE James, as he is being earmarked to become a future captain for our team. So we have a ton of things to break down and discuss. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button, and hit that like button if you feel confident that tomorrow we can finally get a W, as it's been such a long time, my guys. I'm starting to forget what wins actually look like. So I hope you guys enjoy, and getting straight into things. So right now, let's kick things off and let's discuss Andrey Santos's work permit getting rejected. Now, in my opinion, I think this is incredibly harsh. He is only 1 point off from securing a work permit, of course, to play for us for this season. The FA rejected our exceptional talent visa claims, of course, to allow Santos to take part in the squad for this season. And you think that after captaining Brazil to recent trophy glory, after scoring 6 goals in the recent tournament as well too, that would be deemed as enough. However, the argument was that after the signings of Dennis Zakaria on loan and Enzo Fernandez, realistically, how much game time was Santos going to get if we're claiming that he is an exceptional talent? Now, in my opinion, I think this is very short-sighted and it makes no sense. I see this happen all the time in football. Realistically, if Santos's work permit was permitted, then Zakaria wouldn't get any game time. We don't own him. He's a loan player. That's all he is. I feel like Santos, after seeing what this guy was doing recently as well, so he is a natural born leader, and I really feel that this would have been at a very important time for him to acclimatise to the country, get used to the Premier League, get used to his teammates, get used to the tactical setup as well too. And it feels very harsh that this has now been denied. Now, the question now becomes, what do we do with Andrey Santos? Got some interesting news. Some news has been coming out from Brazil, and since the work permit got rejected, we have so many offers now from Brazilian teams. The two most notable ones being Internacional as well as Palmeiras. And latest reports this evening state that Palmeiras' offer to sign him on loan has been accepted by us. However, Andrey Santos gets the final decision. You might be thinking, I mean, surely it makes sense for him to just go to Palmeiras and then come back later on. Well, it's not as simple as that. Now, ideally, Santos was hoping that now that he's moved to London with his partner, his girlfriend, his family, he wanted to use this opportunity to get used to the city, get used to his teammates, acclimatise. This would have been so key for him, but it seems like this won't be the reality anymore. Now, there could be a potential gamble we could rely upon. Of course, there is the Under-20 World Cup taking place in May, but the season is basically over, so I'm not too sure if it's worth pursuing that anymore, knowing the fact that if he was to get a loan move back in Brazil, when he comes back, of course, he will be getting that work permit accepted and he's part of the team. So Palmeiras are hoping to actually sign him on loan until the end of December. Ideally, our plan was to have him, return back to us in the summer, but financially it makes no sense. I mean, if you're a Brazilian club, you're not going to pay all this money to cover his wages, knowing that you'll have him for 3 months. It makes no sense. Anyway, Palmeiras are leading, and in my opinion, I think they're a top Brazilian team. We played against them in the Club World Cup. It was a very tough and very tight game. They play good football, they have an exceptional manager in Abel Ferrara, and I feel quite confident about Santos, of course, playing for them and actually developing whilst he's there as well too, but ultimately he gets the final decision. For me, I'm really excited to see what happens with him. We're signing a ton of young mids, and at this point in time, I'm getting a bit of hoarding vibes. We've got Enzo Fernandez, we've got first team guys here as well too. We're planning on signing one more big midfield player in the summer too. And it's I don't want this exceptional talent with high potential having their careers affected. I think that Santos is one of those guys where already he is a natural born leader. He has the mentality, he has the physicality. And I noticed these little patterns where if players are getting game time from 17 years old at the professional game, that seems to have a very positive influence behind their mentality, how they perform, and how they apply themselves playing football as well too. Because a lot of times when I see young players breaking through into the first team, there's a bit of nervousness at times. Sometimes they play within themselves, or sometimes the physicality of actually stepping up to the main professional leagues can be a bit too much for these guys. But in the case of Santos, this does not affect him whatsoever. And I'm really excited to see how he develops. I feel like if we have Santos, Don't sign Casado. You don't need to do that anymore. Santos, Enzo, maybe a Declan Rice, Ruben, Mount, Carnes. That is a very good selection of midfield players that have potential to grow in the future as well too. So let's see what happens, but I'm kind of guessing, in my opinion, that Santos will go to Palmeiras. So right now, my friends, let's talk all things Southampton. Our game is tomorrow at Stamford Bridge. It should be the first time we see guys like Felix and Enzo playing together at home. I'm sure all of us are very excited. So right now, I'm going to give my predicted lineup that I think Graham Potter may decide to pick. And I'm really hoping you man are listening to me right now. I know that you're typing away, but actually hear what I'm saying. I'm guessing Graham Potter's lineup. I'm not giving my lineup. So let's get straight into things. So as you guys can see on screen, I'm going for a 4-2-3-1. I'm going to explain my decision making behind this lineup. It is not my personal preference. I'm going for a lineup I think Potter may decide to use. So up front, you're seeing Havertz here. In attack, you're seeing Sterling, Madueke and Felix. In midfield, Ruben and Enzo. Defense, REECE, Ben, Badia, Silva and Kepa in goal as well too. Now to start with things, let me discuss why I'm using a 4-2-3-1 again. Maybe there's a possibility Potter decides to make it 4-3-3, but I kind of feel like in the context of the team right now, it's about maintaining sustainability. It's about getting these guys used to playing together, operating in this current system, and to kind of like diverge away from that right now, I don't know, it doesn't make too much sense to me. I think building that tactical consistency makes the most sense. And after seeing some promising performances now, I mean, let's keep things real. That first half against West Ham, we could have got a few more goals in that game if it wasn't dependent on offsides. Of course, the second half against Dortmund, we absolutely peppered them. And of course, prior in the first half, we created amazing opportunities on the counter-attack that weren't buried. We have to remember that a lot of these guys need to play at least 10 games together to build some understanding, to get used to each other's rhythm, movements, pass selections, etc, etc. That will take time, but in my opinion, there are some positives, knowing the fact that, honestly, like only not too long ago, we were all complaining about the lack of creativity. That has been something that's been like a stain on the scene for so long. So at least we are creating things. And now with more consistency, hopefully the confidence can build, and hopefully with the confidence back, we can start to bury these chances we're making. So let me now discuss why Havertz is in this team, because of course Havertz has been one of the key guys that has been fumbling opportunities after opportunities. Now, I'll tell you guys this, if I was to pick my lineup, I'm probably giving David Fofana an opportunity to show what he can do. But the reason why I think Potter may decide not to do that is because, you know, Kai does bring other important things outside of finishing. He does press from the front. He is a good link-up player to have. He is a bit of a focal player at times too. And I like how he plays with the new attack behind him. You know, that relationship between him and João Felix, how he links up with the guys out wide as well too. There is a player here, and I'd love if Kai was able to just like, you know, find his finishing form again, because when he was younger, this was one of the best parts of his game. I'll give him my reason behind why I think he's struggling. I think when he was playing at Leverkusen, he's playing as a 10. You know, he's making late man runs inside the box. It's a lot easier because you have more time to place your shots compared to leading the attack. But I think in terms of our forward options right now, we do need forwards that do more than just score. And I think for this attack behind, Kai is like a decent counterweight for the players we have. Of course, moving on, I've gone for Sterling and Madueke. I think that Mudryk, to be honest, I like to see him come off the bench, similar to what he did against Liverpool. Now, we need to remember that when he left Shakhtar, of course, they were outside of their season. He's still building that fitness and that match fitness. And after seeing that cameo against Liverpool, I feel like maybe coming on at home in Stamford Bridge with like 30 minutes to go could give him more confidence to play his game, knowing that the state of the game could be different. So I think Sterling, now that he's back, you know, let's see what he can do. And of course, Madueke down the right hand side. I thought he looked quite good against West Ham. I like his hold-up play, how he plays, the link-up. He seems very mature for his age, and he's like only 20 years old. So that's the attack I'm using. In midfield, I'm going for Enzo and Ruben because currently these guys complement each other. I'm not understanding some of these criticisms that Ruben's getting as if he was bad against Dortmund. I think in the 2 games versus West Ham and Dortmund, they've been a good, like, complementary midfield to have, with Ruben being more defensive, allowing Enzo to push up a little bit more. Build more consistency with these guys, knowing the fact that Guys like Zakaria and Cover are only just coming back. And of course, now moving on to defence, I've gone for Ben, James, Badia and Silva. Of course, Badia returning back because already he's one of the best aerial defenders in the Premier League. Let's get that straight. Silva alongside him, the composure from these two is absolutely mad. The ball playing out from the back is absolutely mad, and I need to give massive credit to Badia for just acclimatising so quickly to playing in the Premier League. There's a reason why he's had a massive reputation in Europe for a long time, and this guy's been playing since he was 17. I've gone for Ben over Cucurella because I think this should be the game that Ben plays the full 90 minutes in. I'm going to tell you guys this though, I am going to be maybe less harsh on Cucurella. Of course, he has outside factors that could be influencing his season. There have been difficulties there, and to be absolutely fair to the player, he was known as that proactive fullback. He was known to constantly bomb down the left-hand side. We saw what he did at Brighton, and we saw his form at the start of the season for us. There's no way this guy becomes a bad player in the space of a few months, so I'm going to now have some more patience for him and see what he can do. And of course, Reece James will always be in that team, and Kepa as well too. So that is my predicted lineup that I think Graham Potter may use against Southampton. Share your thoughts and opinions. Let us know your lineup. Let us know the lineup that you prefer to see in tomorrow's game. So right now, let's end things by discussing the latest report from Matt Law, where he discusses our plans for future captaincies. Of course, with Jorginho leaving us, with Azpi most likely to be leaving at the end of the season, and of course Silva being like one of the only leaders in the team right now, we need to start preparing for the future. And currently, Reece James is being earmarked as that potential captain for the team. And to be honest with you, and I'm sure all you guys agree, I think he would be an amazing captain. I don't think there's too many like natural captain like leader choices in this squad currently. There's a few names. I'm looking at guys like Reece James naturally, maybe Enzo Fernandez, maybe Andrey Santos in the future. I'm looking at guys like Levi Cole, who's actually been a captain here during the youth teams, and I'm looking at Mason Mount, but of course, we need to see what happens with this contract negotiation. But anyway, moving back to Reece James, I think that the respect he has, not only in this squad, but throughout world football, kind of speaks for itself. The way he conducts himself, the professionalism, how he holds the team to accountability on social media. You know, I think this guy is, he's one of those guys where he doesn't look like he's in his early 20s. He has an experienced head on his shoulders, and I kind of feel like we could encourage him to, you know, take more leadership and take more of like an authoritative role in this team. I think that we need to start developing these characters and personalities. That's why the club is letting him do more media work as well too. And I think that would be an incredible decision because Reece James, in my opinion, will most likely at this rate go down to be a Chelsea legend, and he'll be in like every guy's best Chelsea 11 in the future without a doubt. The guy really is that good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he develops when it comes to being a captain. But of course, you guys share your thoughts and opinions. Who would be your captain for the future? Let us know. And are you happy with Reece James being one of the natural choices? So my friends, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Of course, make sure you guys are with me tomorrow for all things Chelsea versus Southampton. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. So on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.